My brain is broken. The main symptom is that it started picking up signals that don't belong to me, like a cheap router with a past-due internet bill that's still force-feeding me pop-up ads. And the source of those ads is my boss, the CEO of Vance Sterling, a woman with a net worth in the billions and a personality so frigid she could freeze hell over with a single glance. Isabella Vance. It happened on a perfectly ordinary Wednesday afternoon. I, Leo Ross, executive assistant to the CEO, was in her office changing the bottle in the water cooler. As a man whose life goal is to save enough to retire by 35, my personal mantra is, the office is a stage, and you're always acting. 1 second, I could be at my desk scrolling through Reddit, and the next, after a single buzz from her direct line, I'd morph into a paragon of corporate efficiency, striding into her office with calm, purposeful steps. All set, Ms. Vance, I said respectfully, pressing the tap for the cold water. Just then, a tiny, harmless-looking spark spit from the dispenser socket. It sizzled along my damp fingers and gave me a sharp jolt. It didn't hurt, but my hand tingled. I shook my hand out, about to say something like, there might be a short, I'll have facilities take a look, when I saw the brow on Isabella's perpetually frozen face twitch almost imperceptibly. Then, without any warning, a woman's scream echoed through my mind. Oh my God, he's been electrocuted. Is he going to start foaming at the mouth and convulsing? Should I call 911 first? No, cut the power. Where's the circuit breaker? If he dies in my office, is that a workers' comp claim? Will this affect my nomination for Fortune's Most Powerful Women list? And where the hell am I supposed to find another assistant this good on such short notice? Who's going to prep my monthly reports? The internal hurricane of questions, like 100 ducks having a screaming match inside my skull, was so loud and overwhelming my scalp went numb. That voice, it sounded a lot like Isabella, but she was sitting 3 yards away in her leather throne of a chair, holding a file, her lips perfectly still. The way she looked at me was the same as always, like I was a piece of office equipment, devoid of life and cold enough to give you frostbite. Are you all right? She finally asked, her voice steady, cool, and without a ripple of emotion. I opened my mouth, but before I could answer, the concert in my head started up again. Ask him. Just ask him already. Why isn't he saying anything? Did the shock fry his brain? Oh God, he's so young, and not hard on the eyes either. What a shame. How much would the settlement be? Is $500,000 enough? No, his salary is 6 figures. $500K seems cheap. It will make me look bad. $1 million? I swear, the look on my face must have been priceless. I stared at this woman, this impassive, stone-cold CEO whose expression bordered on annoyed, and listened to the voice in my head that was already calculating severance packages and worrying about her public image. My entire perception of reality was taking a beating. I'm fine, Ms. Vance, I said, taking a deep breath and forcing myself to sound normal. Probably just static electricity. Isabella nodded, gracefully setting her file down and picking up her coffee mug. Static? Oh, thank God. That was a close call. Almost lost $1 million. Still, the way he just stood there frozen was kind of funny. Like a deer in the headlights. A deer? Who's a deer? I fought the urge to let my jaw twitch. Is there anything else, Ms. Vance? Put the Asian Pacific market analysis on my desk. I need it in half an hour, she said, her words clipped and efficient. Go, go, go. Get out of here before I start laughing. No, Isabella, you're an ice queen. You have a brand to maintain. Deep breaths. Think of something sad. Think about last quarter's stock performance. Think about Ken Henderson's greasy, smug face. Yes, that's it. Expression is cold again. I practically fled her office. Back at my desk, I collapsed into my chair, feeling drained. I pinched my thigh hard. It hurt. I wasn't dreaming. So what I heard, was that really Isabella's? In her voice, me, a regular corporate drone, gets a little shock from the water cooler, and suddenly I have telepathy? That's insane. You don't even see that in cheap sci-fi novels. Shouldn't I have at least been struck by lightning or hit by a truck and reincarnated? To test this ridiculous theory, I decided to run an experiment. Clutching the market analysis report, I knocked on her office door again. Enter, the same cool, detached voice. I pushed the door open and saw her looking out the window, her perfect profile glowing in the afternoon sun like something out of a painting. He's here. My little report delivery guy is here. I don't know why, but every time I see Leo walking towards me with a stack of files, I feel like he's a zookeeper bringing me my meal. I mean that as a compliment. It means he's reliable. I stumbled, nearly dropping the folder. Zookeeper? Report delivery guy? What the hell kind of nicknames were those? I steadied myself and placed the report on her desk. Ms. Vance, the report you asked for. HM, she grunted, not looking at me or the file, her gaze still fixed on the city outside. I waited for the live stream in my head to refresh. Sure enough, it took less than 3 seconds. Okay, report delivered. He could go now. No, wait, if I just dismiss him, it makes me look like I'm treating him like a tool. I should say something, show a little managerial concern. What to say? Ask if he's had lunch? Too cliche. Ask about his family? Too invasive. Praise the report? No. Can't let him get complacent or he'll slack off next time. I stood there, motionless, trying not to burst out laughing. So this is what it was like. My brilliant, decisive boss had to go through a full-blown existential crisis every time she spoke to me. Maintaining that Ice Queen persona had to be exhausting. Ugh, forget it. I can't think of anything. Just let him go. You may go, Isabella said, finally turning her head to dismiss me. Of course, Ms. Vance. I turned, walked to the door, and put my hand on the knob. Then I paused. A daring idea formed in my mind. I looked back at her, my face a mask of sincerity. Ms. Vance, you seemed really stressed lately. Are you having trouble sleeping? A friend of mine owns an herbal shop, and he gave me some chamomile tea that's supposed to work wonders. I could bring some in for you tomorrow. I was completely making it up, but I was willing to bet on it. Isabella's expression didn't change, but a flicker of surprise crossed her eyes. In my head, however, a bomb went off. How does he know I have insomnia? How does he know I was up until 3 a.m. last night counting sheep into the 30,000s and it didn't work? Is he a psychic? Or are my dark circles that bad? Impossible. I used 3 layers of concealer this morning. This guy, he's got something up his sleeve. That won't be necessary, she said, her rejection crisp and immediate. Yes, I need it. Give it to me now. Insomnia is killing me. But no, I can't accept things from a subordinate. It's not part of the powerful CEO playbook. Damn this persona. I got it. I smiled slightly, adopting a tone that said, I know everything, but I won't say it out loud. It's nothing expensive, Ms. Vance, just a small gesture. You work so hard for this company. We all just want to help in any way we can. And don't worry, it's just regular tea. No side effects. Without waiting for another refusal, I opened the door and walked out. Behind me, there was a long silence from Isabella, and in my head, her internal monologue was struggling to keep up. Did he just patronize me? With that, I know what's best for you, Tone. No, I'm the boss. He worked for me. But the way he smiled just now, why was that so damn charming? I closed the door, leaned against the wall, and finally let out a laugh. Isabella Vance, my untouchable, high and mighty CEO, wasn't so terrifying after all. In fact, she was kind of cute. My peaceful get-rich-and-retire-early life was about to get a lot more interesting. Ever since I'd unlocked the telepathy cheat code, my job description had subtly changed. I used to be the executive assistant. Now, I felt more like Isabella's personal psychic, or maybe her external hard drive, specifically tasked with processing all the real demands she couldn't voice out loud. For example, at the Monday morning meeting, the marketing director, Mark, was clicking through a PowerPoint, droning on and on. Isabella sat at the head of the table, her expression grim, her fingers tapping a slow, ominous rhythm on the mahogany. Every other manager in the room was holding their breath, assuming Mark's proposal had royally pissed her off. Only I could hear the primal scream inside her head. Get to the point. For the love of God, get to the point. Who designed this slide deck? Are those 5 different fonts? Is it a Comic Sans variant? And he used a meme from 2012 that isn't even cropped right. Does he think this is his Instagram story? In this data, the bar chart is practically scraping the ceiling, but he hasn't explained a single driver of that growth. I'm going to have a heart attack. So, when a sweaty Mark finally asked, Ms. Vance, your thoughts on this approach? I cleared my throat at the perfect moment and placed a glass of water in front of her. Ms. Vance, I said, interrupting with a calm smile, I believe what Mark means to say is that he has a more detailed appendix with the core data and execution strategy for Project C. He was just being considerate of everyone's time by not delving into it during the presentation. Isn't that right, Mark? I shot him a look. Mark, looking like he'd just been pulled from a burning building, nodded furiously. Yes, Leo's absolutely right. Isabella glanced at me, her eyes filled with a new kind of curiosity. How does he do that? It's like he's got a direct line into my brain. He knows exactly what I'm thinking. But, well played. Save me the trouble of having to tear Mark a new one while still maintaining my composure. She took a sip of water. Fine. Send me the appendix. Meeting adjourned. A corporate bloodbath, averted by a single glass of water. Everyone in the conference room looked at me with expressions of profound gratitude, as if I were their savior. I just smiled, a silent keeper of secrets and skills. Don't ask me how I knew. Let's just call it synergy. It kept happening. Isabella would frown, and I'd know she thought the AC was too cold. The tempo of her finger tapping would increase, and I'd know her internal commentary was reaching critical mass, and it was my job to translate. She'd even stare at a billboard of some male actor for more than 3 seconds, and I'd hear her inner voice squeal, "Oh my God, look at those abs." I could do my laundry on those abs. I started having her favorite lemon water ready before she was thirsty. I'd coincidentally order the afternoon snack she was craving when she was about to get hungry. When she was getting frustrated with a difficult project, I'd quietly place a folder with a well-researched alternative solution on her desk. My job performance went through the roof. And the way Isabella looked at me grew stranger and stranger. It went from scrutiny to curiosity to a complicated mix of dependency and suspicion. Leo is terrifying. It's like he's a spy living inside my head. I make one face, and he knows exactly what I need. This isn't synergy anymore, it's supernatural. What if he's some kind of corporate spy planted here to learn all my habits, waiting for the right moment to take me out and inherit the company? I heard that particular thought while I was brewing her chamomile tea, and my hand jerked so hard I almost scalded myself. Inherit your company? Lady, you've got it all wrong. My life goal is retirement. It's lying on a beach. It's staring at my fish tank for an entire afternoon. Your corporate empire is less appealing to me than the succulent I have on my balcony. Although, if he did want to inherit it, I suppose it wouldn't be the worst thing. He's smart, capable, handsome, and so thoughtful. Stop it, Isabella. What are you thinking? You're the capitalist. He's the labor you're exploiting. You cannot have these dangerous thoughts. I quietly placed the mug on her desk and decided I'd go home and water my succulent tonight. Compared to the drama inside Isabella's head, horticulture was a much more relaxing hobby. This bizarre state of psychic connection reached its peak one Friday night. It was 9 p.m. I had just cracked open a beer at home, ready for a long night of video games, when Isabella's call came through. Leo, are you busy right now? Her voice was even colder than usual, tinged with an almost undetectable hint of embarrassment. Not at all, Ms. Vance. What can I do for you? I said, mournfully setting down my controller. Come to my place. I'm texting you the address. She hung up before I could reply. I stare at the location ping on my phone, a high-end condo building in Tribeca. Late at night, single woman, single man, the female CEO summons her male assistant to her home. I've seen this exact setup in about 100 different B-movies. It couldn't be, could it? Ms. Vance. This is so mortifying. Why did I call him? But the drain is clogged, and building maintenance said the plumber can't come until tomorrow. I'm a single woman. I can't just stick my hand down there, can I? And the smell. It's awful. I am Isabella Vance. I cannot be defeated by a clogged toilet. The thought that suddenly flooded my brain shattered all my steamy fantasies into a million pieces. So it wasn't some HR nightmare scenario. She wanted me to come over and unclog her toilet. Resigned to my fate, I changed my clothes and caught a cab to her place. Isabella's apartment was nothing like the opulent penthouse I'd imagined. It was a spacious 2-bedroom, minimally decorated but impeccably clean, and filled with a warmth that felt lived in. He's here. He's inside. Is he going to think my place is too small for someone of my status? I'll just say, I don't like big houses. They feel empty. Yes, that's it. That sounds tasteful and unconventional. Isabella, dressed in a comfortable-looking sweatsuit, stood in the foyer with that same icy expression and recited the exact line from her internal monologue. I don't like big houses. They feel empty. It's great. Very cozy, I said, and I meant it. He complimented me. He said my home is cozy. Does that mean he wants to live in this cozy home with me? Stop it. Isabella, be professional. I pretended not to hear, slipped on the guest's slippers, and got straight to the point. So, Ms. Vance, what seems to be the problem? A rare blush crept up her pale cheeks as she pointed towards the bathroom. The toilet. It's clogged. I walked into the bathroom and was hit by an indescribable smell. Isabella hovered awkwardly in the doorway, not daring to come in. It's over. My goddess image is completely shattered in his mind. He probably thinks I'm a helpless idiot who can't even handle basic plumbing. Is he disgusted? Is he going to quit tomorrow? It's a simple fix, I said calmly, rolling on my sleeves. Ms. Vance, do you have a plunger? Or a wire hanger? Oh my God, he's not disgusted at all. He's so calm, and the way he rolls up his sleeves is so masculine. Nice forearms. What am I thinking? This is not the time to be admiring his muscles. Trying not to laugh, I found the tools with her guidance. After a bit of work, with a final, satisfying whoosh, the toilet was clear. I washed my hands and walked out of the bathroom, giving her a thumbs up. Isabella just stared at me, her eyes a swirling mess of emotions. Thank you, she said a little stiffly. How much do I owe you? I can Venmo you. I have to pay him. I have to. Otherwise this gets weird. I can't be indebted to him, especially not for this. How much? $50? Too little. 100? Seems okay. 200? Makes me look generous. Don't worry about it, Ms. Vance, I said, waving my hand. Let's just call it overtime. I saw her visibly relax at that. Yes. Overtime. That's the perfect excuse. That keeps our relationship purely professional. Leo is so smart. He has such high emotional intelligence. I sighed internally. Ms. Vance, the tangled mess in your head is more complicated than your clogged drain. I was about to leave when she stopped me. Wait. She pulled a cold can of Coke from the fridge and handed it to me. Have something to drink before you go. I took it, popped the tab, and took a few long swallows. The living room was quiet. The atmosphere was a little strange. What do I do? The conversation stalled. I need a topic. Work? Too boring. The weather? Too awkward. The toilet? No, definitely not. Ms. Vance, I decided to take the lead and break the silence. Do you live here alone? Yes, she nodded. Why is he asking that? What does he want? Is he interested in me? Oh God, I'm so nervous. How do I answer this in a way that makes me sound independent, but not like unwanted? That's nice, I continued. It must be peaceful. And then I heard it, a small, quiet, vulnerable whisper from the deepest part of her mind. But it gets lonely sometimes, too. In that moment, looking at this woman, stripped of all her corporate armor, dressed in cartoon pajamas, clutching a throw pillow, something inside me just melted. So the Ice Queen of Vance Sterling got lonely, too. After the clogged toilet incident, my relationship with Isabella entered a whole new phase. On the surface, we were still the perfect picture of professional decorum. She called me Leo. I called her Ms. Vance. But privately, through my psychic hotline, our communication was more like that of two people who had known each other for years. During a board meeting, she would mentally scream at me. Leo, look at the CFO's tie. It's so crooked it looks like a dead snake. I'm going to lose it. Quick, do something to make me laugh without anyone noticing. And I would discreetly slide my phone in front of her, the screen displaying a dumb-looking husky meme. At a stuffy networking event, she'd send a barrage of frantic mental DMs. The guy I'm talking to has breath that could be classified as a chemical weapon. I swear my eyelashes are curling from the fumes. Help me, Leo. I can't talk to him for one more second. And I'd immediately step in. Mr. Henderson, a pleasure to see you. Ms. Vance is actually a little sensitive to alcohol, so I'll be happy to take that drink for her. I became her designated emergency extract and her personal emotion translator, and her reliance on me grew exponentially. Day 1 of Leo being on a business trip. I miss him. Day 2 without Leo. I miss him. Day 3 of Leo being gone. The company is going to collapse. How do I handle this project? Which contract should I sign? Why is everyone in this office a complete moron? Why can't anyone understand what I mean? Leo, come back. Reading her curt work text while listening to the apocalyptic meltdown in her head, I had no choice but to book an earlier flight home. A quiet life? Early retirement? Not a chance. I felt like a video game character permanently bonded to the main player, a support class who had to be ready to pop my ultimate ability at a moment's notice to save her from certain doom. But honestly, being needed like this, it wasn't so bad, especially when I noticed that the content of her internal monologue about me was starting to change. At first, it was simple stuff. That's a nice suit on Leo today. Makes his legs look long. Then it evolved. The way his Adam's apple moves when he drinks water. Kinda hot. And then, before I knew it, we had fast-forwarded to, if you were my boyfriend. I guess that wouldn't be so bad. He's capable, handsome, and he can unclog a toilet. I just don't know if he likes my type. Am I too intense for him? Did I scare him off? Every time I heard these thoughts, I had to fight to keep my professional poker face from cracking, while a tidal wave crashed through me on the inside. Lady, do you really have to wonder if I like you? I cater to your every whim, fulfilling wishes you haven't even spoken out loud yet. What do you think my motivation is? The overtime pay? Well, that was part of it. But it turned out, I was in it for something else too. I started looking forward to coming to work, just to hear the weird and wonderful thoughts bouncing around in her head. I started thinking of jokes to make her smile before her brow even had a chance to furrow. I started wishing I could be the one she leaned on when she was exhausted. I think I was screwed. The only problem was, how was I supposed to make a move? Just come right out with it? Ms. Vance, I like you because I can hear your thoughts, and I've discovered you're secretly a hilarious weirdo. I was pretty sure she'd have me committed before I finished the sentence. The breakthrough came at the most unexpected of places, the annual company gala. As the CEO, Isabella was the star of the show. She wore an elegant black evening gown, holding a glass of champagne as she glided between clients and executives, her smile flawless, her composure perfect. As her assistant, I never left her side, and I could hear her true feelings loud and clear. My face hurts from all this fake smiling. This high heel was designed by Satan himself. My feet are about to fall off. Oh God, that fat guy is coming over to toast me again. If he gets any closer, I'm going to throw my drink on him. Leo, where's Leo? I need backup. I instantly appeared at her side with a glass of juice. Ms. Vance, Mr. Henderson, a toast to you. Our Ms. Vance has been having some stomach trouble lately. Doctor's orders to stay off alcohol. I hope you'll understand. As I ran interference for her, I listened to the stream of praise in her head. Ah, my knight in shining armor has arrived. He's basically riding a unicorn to my rescue. He's so cool. I'm definitely giving him a bonus for this. No, a massive bonus. After fending off several more rounds of schmoozing, Isabella used the excuse of going to the restroom to drag me out onto the hotel's open-air balcony. The night air was cool, brushing a few loose strands of hair across her face. She kicked off her heels, wiggling her bare feet on the cool stone, and let out a long sigh. I'm exhausted, she complained, a rare moment of candor. Finally, I can breathe. It's always so much easier when I'm with Leo. I don't have to think. I don't have to pretend. Seeing her so relaxed, I felt a shift inside me. I took off my suit jacket and draped it over her shoulders. Don't want you to get cold. She froze for a second, then clutched the jacket, which was still warm from my body heat. Oh my God, this is straight out of a romance movie. He gave me his jacket. Does he like me? He definitely likes me. What do I do? What do I do? Should I make a move? If I do, will I seem too forward? Watching her face remain a mask of calm, while her mind was already casting the third act of a rom-com, I suddenly knew I couldn't do this anymore. I took a deep breath. It was time to come clean. Isabella, HM, there's something I've been meaning to tell you. I looked her straight in the eye and said, word by word, I know you're not really an ice queen. Isabella's body went completely rigid. He knows? How could he know? Where did I slip up? I know that during meetings, you think Mark's PowerPoints are an aesthetic crime. Her eyes widened. I know that at client dinners, you can't stand the smell of smoke on Mr. Henderson. Her lips parted in disbelief. I know that when you're home alone at night, you get lonely. And I even know that last night, you were hiding under the covers watching compilations of corny pickup lines on TikTok and laughing your head off. That last one was my kill shot. Isabella's face went from pale to crimson in a split second. She looked utterly stunned, like a squirrel who'd just had its secret stash of nuts discovered, frozen to the spot, completely exposed. How does he know everything? Does he have cameras in my apartment? No, wait, listening devices? Is he a stalker? Damn it, why do I find a stalker so attractive? I'm hopeless. Listening to the chaotic trial already underway in her mind, I finally broke into a smile. Stop freaking out, I said, reaching out and gently flicking her on the forehead. I'm not a creep. Then, how? She stammered, all pretense of being Ms. Van's gone. I took a step closer, closing the distance between us. I looked down into her panicked eyes, and, in a voice only she could hear, I told her the world-shattering secret. Because I can't hear your thoughts. For a moment, the world went silent. Even the live stream in her head seemed to have crashed from a system overload. Isabella remained frozen for a full 3 minutes. In that time, her expression cycled from shock to confusion to dawning realization before finally settling on a complex mixture of humiliation and intrigue. The live stream in my head went through a violent reboot. Can hear my thoughts? Wait a minute. So, when I was complaining about Mark's ugly PowerPoint, he heard me. When I was disgusted by Henderson's bad breath, he heard me. When I thought he looked hot rolling up his sleeves to unclog my toilet, he heard me. When I was fantasizing about him being my boyfriend, he heard that too. Hey, accompanied by a psychic scream that shot through the roof of my skull. Isabella's face turned the color of a boiled lobster. She took a sharp step back, staring at me like I was an alien, and clamped her hands over her mouth, as if that would stop the thoughts from leaking out. You. She couldn't form a complete sentence. I looked at her, and my heart ached with a mixture of amusement and sympathy. Relax, I said, trying to keep my voice gentle and non-threatening. It's a long story. I got a shock from the water cooler, and it left me with this. Side effect. The water cooler? The one in our office? So it's the culprit. I'm having it smashed to pieces when I get back. It's not the water cooler's fault, I replied, half laughing, to her unspoken vow of vengeance. That stopped her cold. She just stared at me with wide eyes, as if trying to determine if I was telling the truth or just messing with her. I decided to go for the kill. Right now, you're wondering when this all started, I said with a small smile. She flinched. You want to know exactly how much of your colorful inner history I've been privy to? Her blush deepened. And you're also thinking about how you'll ever face me again, now that you feel like you're standing in front of me with no secrets left. That was the final blow. Isabella crumpled. She sank to the ground, burying her face in her knees, letting out a small, wounded sound. Stop talking. This is the worst day of my life. My Ice Queen persona. My powerful CEO image. It's all gone. In his eyes, I must just be some crazy person with a non-stop commentary track in her head. I can never show my face again. Watching her curled into a little ball, I sighed and crouched down beside her. Hey, Isabella Vance. It was the first time I hadn't called her Ms. Vance. She looked up, her eyes red-rimmed and misty. In your mind, what kind of person am I? I asked. What kind of person? A really good assistant. A very thoughtful man. A monster who can see right through all my walls. A monster? I raised an eyebrow. She flinched and shook her head frantically. No, I meant a very special person. And in your mind, what kind of person are you? I asked. Me? A coward pretending to be strong. A walking contradiction who wants to be understood, but is terrified of being seen. A really boring CEO. No, I said, shaking my head and holding her gaze. You're not. The way I hear it, you're a perfectionist who gets driven crazy by an ugly slide deck. You're a professional who endures uncomfortable situations with grace. You're a young woman who gets a little lonely and sad in the quiet of the night. You're Isabella Vance, a person who directs 1,000 little dramas in her head, who is more alive and more adorable than anyone I've ever met. I reached out and gently brushed a tear from the corner of her eye. I didn't fall for the powerful Ms. Vance. I fell for the real you. The one with the inner screaming chicken. The one who roasts people in her head. Who can be silly. Who secretly watches cheesy romance compilations. And who can laugh for 10 minutes straight at a cat video. Isabella was completely stunned. She stared at me. And for the first time, The live stream in her head was simple, pure. He likes me. He likes. The real me. Is he telling the truth? I am, I said, taking her hand and placing it over my heart. This is my proof. Her hand was cool. My heart was hammering, hot, and fast against her palm. So, Ms. Isabella Vance, I said, looking deep into her eyes, my voice filled with all the seriousness I possessed. Would you be willing to give a man who can hear all your thoughts and who has fallen hopelessly in love with every single one of them a chance to be your boyfriend? The wind on the balcony seemed to die down. I could hear her heart pounding like a drum, and I could hear the spectacular fireworks display going off in her mind. Yes, yes, yes. A million times yes. Her mind was screaming it at the top of its lungs, but her mouth, paralyzed by shock and joy and embarrassment, couldn't form a single word. Seeing her face flushed red, her lips parted but silent, I ducked my head and smiled. Then, I leaned in and whispered in her ear, "If you don't say anything, I'm going to take that as a yes." The next second, I kissed her. Her lips were just as soft as I had imagined. And for once, my mind was blessedly quiet. There were no frantic thoughts, no running commentary. Just a sweet, silent, roaring in my ears. Epilogue: what's it like to date a guy who can read your mind? Ms. Isabella Vance would like to state for the record, it's the absolute worst. For instance, I try to surprise her with a gift I've hidden away. Ooh, third drawer of the desk in the study, got it. Noted. Or, if we have an argument, I'll pretend to be angry and wait for her to apologize. All right, you've got 3 minutes. If you don't come apologize in 3 minutes, I'll just get over it myself. Isabella, with a cool expression, Leo, do you not love me anymore? Tell me you love me. Tell me you can't live without me. Give me an easy way out of this. Me, I love you. I can't live without you. There, I built you a bridge. Now, get over it. Isabella, there's absolutely no thrill of the game. Of course, there's some perks. I always know exactly what she wants, long before she asks. When she's craving that new dessert from the bakery across town, I'll just happen to be in the neighborhood and bring it home. When she wants to see a midnight movie, I'll have the tickets booked before she even checks the show times. When she's tired from work, I'll have a hot bath and a shoulder rub waiting. There are almost no misunderstandings between us because every little thought is out in the open. I resigned from my position as executive assistant, not because of any conflict of interest, but because Isabella, with a wave of her hand, promoted me to her personal strategic advisor, who also happened to be her live-in boyfriend and future husband. In her words, "You can hear all my business strategies anyway. It'd be a total loss if I didn't make you work for me for the rest of your life." Thinking of escaping? Not a chance. You're stuck with me forever, listening to my thoughts, and my thoughts only. I smiled and squeezed her cheek. Yes, my queen. My life went from a high-stakes corporate thriller to a sickeningly sweet romantic comedy. And that side effect from the water cooler, it never went away. It became the most unique, private language between the two of us. One sunny afternoon, I was reading on the couch, her head resting in my lap as she scrolled through her phone. It was peaceful. Suddenly, I heard a stray thought from her. You know, that faulty water cooler is probably still in the break room. Maybe we should get one of the handsome new guys from that other department to go change the bottle sometime, just to see what happens. I silently picked up my phone and opened the company directory. Hi, facilities? This is Leo Ross. Yes, I need you to go to the executive floor and remove the water cooler outside the CEO's office. Immediately. Yes, that's right, physically destroy it. Don't ask why. Stingy. I leaned down and kissed her, swallowing all the rest of her unspoken complaints. Outside, the sun was shining. This, I realized, was the perfect version of the peaceful, easy life I'd always wanted. Her, the sunlight, and the never-ending private access-only live stream of the funniest, sweetest, most wonderful mind I'd ever known.